So I'm starting by poaching a whole chicken. So in this pan, you can either use a little bit of oil. I actually use chicken fat. I have browned the chicken all over. I've got some chicken stock that I'm going to pour in. I'm going to actually add some more water to this because I want there to be more liquid. Actually, no. So just up to nearly covered. Even though this is stock and it's already flavoured, I am adding some aromats. That was a bay leaf. This is some thyme. I do love to always put in a star anise. This will now go on the cooker and you want to bring it to a very gentle simmer. So you've got two choices. You can either cook this in an oven with a lid on, which is basically a pot roast, or gas is cheaper than electric at the moment, not by much, but it is. Or you can cook on the stovetop, which is a proper poach. Once this comes up to a simmer, I'm looking for about 70 degrees, then I will drop the heat right down, put a lid on it and leave that to poach for about 50 to 60 minutes. The same rule applies as when you're the old-fashioned roasting rule, which is it's 20 minutes per 450 grams or pound. It's come up to a simmer, lid on, move to a low heat and leave it for 40 to 60 minutes. Keep checking. Okay, mine has had 45 minutes and I've checked the internal temperature, which is 80. It needs to be 75. So these are done. I'm just, yeah. The other way to check, obviously, is to poke it and see if the juices run clear. So I'm going to take this out of the stock and just leave it to cool. Leave that until it's cool enough to handle. And I'm now going to reduce this stock by half. And now I'm just going to break up the chicken. I'm not going to be using all of it in this recipe. I might make some other dishes with leftovers, perhaps. What's my favourite? What's it called? I might make some coronation chicken with leftovers, add some to a risotto, but I am just going to break up the whole chicken. Oh, shit. I've cut out 8 circles from a sheet of ready rolled puff pastry and I cut it out with that size. Now I'm going to go down a couple of sizes and just punch out from 4 of them some holes. Keep the tops if you want. I've got a beaten egg that's got a little bit of salt in. This is Jules's top tip. I'm actually using my finger because I don't, you don't want to get the egg yolk, beaten egg, anywhere around the actual edges because that will stop the rise. So you can see I'm just coating the underside and then sticking it to the disc that doesn't have the hole in. I actually stuck my circles in the freezer for about 10 minutes just to make them easier to work with. Now I'm going to just paint around the top. Again, carefully. You don't want the egg on the edges because it can prevent the rise. Better safe than sorry. I've never made vol au vents before. I'm going to paint the tops of these. Okay, these go in the oven for 10 to 15 minutes. Keep an eye on them. These meatballs were just 150 grams of beef mince mixed with salt and pepper, and I also put some thyme in there, and I have rolled them into really teeny tiny balls. I have no idea how this cookie is going to turn out because it's in my head. Okay, I've got everything ready to go. Traditionally in Belgium they serve it in a beautiful towering vol au vent. That was my disaster today. But I am not going to let them go. I am going to serve it in a vol au vent. So I am starting with mushrooms. So I've got some chestnut mushrooms that I'm just going to break in half. These are baby chestnuts. And I'm going to do what I always do, which is dry fry them for a couple of minutes just to get the maximum flavour out of them. Take those out the pan. I'm going to put a little splash of vegetable oil. And I'm going to tip in these meatballs and just let them get a little bit of colour on every side. Remember what I've said to you about pans. If it's sticking to the pan, it's not ready to be released. Drop the heat down. I'm going to put in a very generous knob of butter. That's probably 15 grams of butter. It's a low heat. I've got 1 banana shallot finely chopped. That's going to go in, and I'm just going to cook that down for a few minutes with the meatballs. The reason it's on a low light is because butter burns. We don't want the butter to burn. This is some of the fat that I took off the top of the stock from the chicken we poached this morning. I'm just putting a little bit of that in the pan. Onions are soft. You can either put in another 10 grams of butter, or again, I've got the chicken fat that I took off this morning. I'm going to sprinkle in a tablespoon of flour and half a teaspoon of mustard powder. Give it a good stir. I'm going to start pouring in the stock. You won't need all of this stock. There's so many other things we can do with this. This is what cooked the chicken. We can make chicken soup with it. But I'm going to, that's about 50 ml. We'll start with that. And just cook that gently and scrape all the bits off the bottom. You can also at this point put your mushrooms back in. It's thickened up really quickly. I'm putting in another 50 ml and one last splash of 50 ml. So that's 150 ml in total. You want to taste it? That needs a little bit of salt. And pepper. I'm now going to add enough chicken that I think is enough for however many people I'm serving, and it's a mix of, there's breast meat here and leg meat. I've left it in quite big chunks. You just want to warm that through. And now finish it off with a drizzle of, well, it's not a drizzle, I'm going to say that's about 70 ml of cream. If I was making this for me, I would have some leeks in there, but this is the Belgian dish. It is mushroom, chicken, meatballs, and it should be in a towering vol au vent. I've just got my rather sad looking vol au vents, but I'm not going to waste them. So I'm just going to spoon in all over some of that lovely mixture and sauce. Finish with a little sprinkle of parsley. A generous. And if you feel so inclined, I've got some new potatoes, which I have just cooked and lightly crushed. I'm not going to have a lot. I'm just going to put some there. I got through it. Belgian chicken and meatballs. Okay.